After the Alliance army withdrew back to the Sky Mansion Alliance, the entire Central Plains had undoubtedly turned into an uproar. The three great ancient clans and the overlord of the Central Plains, the Sky Mansion Alliance. This alliance army was so powerful that one could not describe it with words. Any faction would be turned into dust under the might of this army. This shock, which caused everyone to panic, did not last for long before the news of the all-out war between the Alliance army and the Hun clan was spread. After all, the big battle between the Alliance army and the Hun clan at the Burial Mountain Range was really far too earth-shaking. It was impossible for that kind of big war not to attract attention. Hence, the moment the big battle ended and the Alliance army withdrew, news of the battle began to spread to every corner of the Central Plains. Some of the factions, which had some conflict with the Sky Mansion Alliance, quietly sighed in relief after hearing that the target of the Alliance army was the Hun clan. Soon after, however, they could sense the most terrifying storm in 1,000 years would soon sweep over the Central Plains with their sharp senses. This storm would be incomparable and intense. It would be many times worse than any other war in the past. Many factions began to feel uneasy in the face of this imminent storm. A fight between the frightening existences would likely cause an extremely horrible destruction over the Central Plains. This was clearly a danger that could not be underestimated for the factions that were living on the Central Plains. Even if they were to be briefly touched by a war of this level, it was likely that their entire faction would be destroyed. Hence, those factions, which were located close to the Sky Mansion Alliance, had all hurriedly left their lands after the Alliance army had set up camp at the Sky Mansion Alliance. They were afraid that they would suffer from some unintentional attacks when the war began, which would result in a miserable fate. Xiao Yan and the others ignored this commotion on the Central Plains. At the moment, the Hun clan might have committed various atrocities on the Central Plains, but it was obvious that those factions would not start a war with the Hun clan just because of this. Everyone wished to remain neutral in the face of this big war. Hence, Xiao Yan's group did not plan to pull these factions onto the same boat as them. The large army returned to the Star Realm and began to be busy once again. However, it was fortunate that there was Yao Lao and other people in charge of these. Hence, there was no need for Xiao Yan to have a headache over these matters. After all, he was really not very good when it came to management. Xiao Yan sighed in relief after returning to the Star Realm. Even he had felt a little tired after he finally being able to relax from such an intense battle. Therefore, while Yao Lao and the others were busy with settling the Alliance army down, he had led Xiao Zhan, Sun Er, and Kai Lin back to the mountain, which belonged to him. Xiao Xiao quickly appeared in front of Xiao Yan's group after hearing about news of Xiao Yan's return at the mountain. After which, she swiftly pounced into Xiao Yan's embrace and refused to come down. "Come, Xiao Xiao, greet your grandfather." The current Xiao Xiao had began to appear a little juicy. Adding the natural bewitching look she had inherited from her mother, she was already a beauty despite being young. One could imagine that she would become another great beauty who could bring disaster to countries like her mother when she grew up. Xiao Zhao's large black eyes blinked after hearing Xiao Yan's words. She looked at Xiao Zhan beside Xiao Yan. Although this old man appeared to be a stranger, she still obediently called out, "Grandpa." "Ugh, good granddaughter." Xiao Zhan's eyes paused on Xiao Xiao the moment the latter appeared. His elderly face had actually reddened slightly from his excitement. That wrinkled-filled old face broke into a bright smile after hearing Xiao Xiao obediently greeted him. Even his eyes had become narrow as he laughingly replied in a hurried fashion. Xiao Yan helplessly smiled after seeing that Xiao Zhan's face was even more excited than when they had met earlier. Old people seemed to be especially fond of little children. After all, from the way they saw it, the continuation of their bloodline was the most important thing in a clan. "Come, Grandpa will give you a hug." Xiao Zhan smilingly extended his hand, and forcefully hugged Xiao Xiao from Xiao Yan's embrace. His beard-covered old face continued to touch Xiao Zhao's small face, causing the latter to reveal a bitter expression. Beard, pain. Ha ha! Xiao Zhan involuntarily burst out in laughter upon seeing this. Tears even began to fall due to his laughter. During the decades which he had been imprisoned by the Han clan, he had basically fallen into a despair. After witnessing the strength of the Han clan, it was extremely difficult for him to imagine escaping from their hands. At times, he even hoped that Xiao Yan would not go and rescue him. This was because it was far too dangerous doing so. However, when reality was placed in front of him, Xiao Zhan became aware that even though he had always have a great confidence in Xiao Yan, he had still underestimated the ability of this son of his. This kind of family joy really the best thing in the world for Xiao Zhan, who had once ended up in despair. Xiao Yan clenched his fist tightly after seeing Xiao Zhan's appearance. Kai Lin and Sun Er by the side involuntarily had reddened eyes. Father, let us go and rest first. Coincidentally, I am free during this period of time. I will help you nurse your health, Xiao Yan smiled. After which, he turned towards Kai Lin and said, Send someone back to the Jiamar Empire and bring my brothers over. Tell them, Father is waiting for them. Kai Lin nodded gently before turning around and leave. Xiao Yan gently exhaled as he looked at Kai Lin's beautiful figure becoming distant. He muttered to himself in his heart, Big brother, second brother, I have finally did what I have promised the both of you. The days after the big battle was unusually peaceful. The Alliance army that camped at the Sky Mansion Alliance did not move frequently. However, this atmosphere was an imminent storm had not weakened as a result. Instead, it became even denser. Everyone was aware that this would be the decisive battle between two extraordinary parties. The earth-shaking big battle in the Burial Mountain Range had resulted in both parties suffering some losses. Hence, they were a little quiet during this period of time. Both parties were using this limited time to quickly recover their energy and prepare for an all-out strike. While the army was recuperating, the upper echelons of the Alliance army did not have the time to do so. Gu Yuan had found a place to undertake a retreat the moment the army had arrived at the Falling Star Pavilion. Everyone knew that he was personally monitoring the Han clan. With his monitoring the other party, any activity that occurred at the Han realm would be immediately discovered by him. However, such an activity did not appear during this period of time. It was as though the Han clan had become completely quiet after obtaining the ancient jade. Another couple of days passed in the blink of an eye as this deadlock continued. After the Alliance army had obtained some rest, they finally began their next course of action. This time around, their target was the Han clan. Strong individuals from all over the place were orderly divided into many groups that flew out from the Star Realm. After which, they began a carpet-like search from the Sky Mansion Alliance in an attempt to look for the branch hall of the Hall of Soul. In the face of this extremely detailed search, the branch halls of the Hall of Soul were all being exposed one after another. However, after the Alliance army charged into these branch hall, they discovered that it was completely empty inside. Only an extremely few branch halls still had some experts from the Hall of Soul guarding it. However, this kind of protection was unable to pose any obstruction towards the Alliance army. Under this extremely forceful search by the Alliance army, all the branch halls of the Hall of Soul on the Central Plains had been turned into wasteland. Even the most important sky and earth halls had been destroyed by the powerful Alliance army. From this moment forth, the Hall of Soul, which was once renowned throughout the Central Plains, was easily eliminated from it. The outsides could only be shocked in the face of the Hall of Soul being easily destroyed. The previous overlord of the Central Plains actually appeared so weak in the face of the Alliance oppression. However, Xiao Yan and the others had also frowned while the public was shocked. From the looks of it, It was obvious that the Hun clan had already predicted this and have already withdrew the Hall of Soul from those places. Most importantly, the spiritual essence stored in those branch halls had also been shifted away by the Hall of Soul. The action taken by the Hun clan could be considered decisive. They knew that it was basically impossible to protect the Hall of Soul in the face of the Alliance army. In that case, they might as well hand it over to the Alliance. In any case, the Hall of Soul could be said to have achieved its purpose. It did not matter even if it was destroyed. Once their plans succeed, they would be able to rapidly build a couple of Hall of Souls. At that time, the entire continent would be under their control. Following the destruction of the Hall of Soul, the Alliance army could only withdraw once again, after which they were placed outside of the Hun realm in front of many pairs of eyes in preparation of any activities that could potentially appear. During this period of time, Xiao Ding and Xiao Li had also traveled through the wormhole that already been set up. They directly arrived at the Star Realm from the northwestern part of the continent. There was naturally a moving scene when father and son reunite. That scene caused the eyes of many to redden and their hearts to ache. Who could have expected that the original ordinary but lucky Xiao clan would ended up being separated due to the appearance of the Hun clan from nowhere? After his two brothers' arrival, Xiao Yan had also enjoyed a period of joy from the reunion, which he had not felt for a long time. Additionally, he had also inquired about the matters of the Yan alliance. This alliance that he had established back then was currently the undeniable strongest faction on the current northwestern part of the continent. However, Xiao Yan did not have any plans to use the strength of the Yan alliance. From the perspective of the Central Plains, it could only be considered a relatively strong faction. Hence, it was pointless to robe it into the Alliance army. After enjoying a period of family time, Xiao Yan had once again refocused his mind. The matter of the Hall of Soul having gathered all the two Shi ancient god Jade had been weighing on him. Even though he had currently stepped into the D-State Soul, he was still far lacking when compared to a 9-star Do Shang like the Nihility Devouring Flame. Hence, before the Hun clan could find the two Shi ancient god cave, he must increase his strength as quickly as possible. In this way, it would allow him to be able to have some additionally trump cards when facing an opponent like the Nihility Devouring Flame. However, after reaching his level, attempting to raise his strength within a short period of time was clearly an extremely difficult task. Hence, Xiao Yan had finally chose to target the 9 mysterious golden lightning that was sealed within Little Yi's body after musing for a long time. After his soul had stepped into the D state, he already possessed the ability to refine this strength, which he was once helpless against. Xiao Yan stood in front of a tomb that was standing alone on a plains deep within the heavenly tomb. He bowed respectfully towards the tomb before lifting his head. His eyes looked around him. There were many energy bodies present around the plains. However, they did not step anywhere within 10,000 feet from Xiao Yan. Moreover, there was respect and fear in their eyes as they looked at Xiao Yan. Even if one did not mention the fact that Xiao Yan was currently the owner of the heavenly tomb, just the fact that the latter's soul had stepped into the D state was sufficient to cause these energy bodies to shudder in fear. These energy bodies could be considered the natives of this heavenly tomb. Most of these people were relatively powerful existences when they were alive. However, that was when they were still alive. At this moment, they were merely some energy bodies that could only survive by relying on the mysterious heavenly tomb. Xiao Yan had also deeply observed them. There was a total of over a dozen of them who had reached the Doshang class. Unfortunately, none of them possessed a strength comparable to ancestor Xiao Xian. Xiao Yan smiled involuntarily in the face of this. If there was an energy body here that was comparable to ancestor Xiao Xian, they would not have allowed the heavenly tomb soul to do as it pleased. This lineup could actually also be considered quite a powerful strength. However, due to the uniqueness of the heavenly tomb, they were unable to leave this place. Hence, they were of little help to Xiao Yan. Nevertheless, if I end up meeting an enemy in the future, I can trap him into entering the heavenly tomb. Xiao Yan fondled his chin and laughed softly. Immediately, he sat down in front of the tomb. His eyes were widened as he spoke in a faint voice. Shui Dao, help me stand guard. Do not allow anyone to disturb me. Although there were many energy bodies inside the heavenly tomb, Xiao Yan did not really trust them. He could only be considered to be a little familiar to that Saint Shui Dao. Hence, Xiao Yan had the intention of allowing him to manage the order within the heavenly tomb. Understood. A blood-clothed figure in the distance hurriedly spoke in a respectful manner upon hearing this. If one was to look closely, it was that Saint Shui Dao. The current Shui Dao possessed quite a high status within this heavenly tomb. This was because many energy bodies were aware that the newly owner of the heavenly tomb seemed to have quite a deep relationship with him. Therefore, even some of the energy bodies which were far stronger than him were currently extremely courteous to him. Saint Shui Dao was happy to enjoy such a change. However, he also understood that he was merely borrowing the strength of others to appear mighty. Therefore, he appeared extremely respectful when facing Xiao Yan. He completely treated himself as the latter's subordinate. Xiao Yan's hands formed a seal after he issued the instructions. Little flashed and appeared on his shoulder. It opened its small mouth without waiting for Xiao Yan's instructions. A golden light was spat out from his mouth. Rumble. Loud rumbling sound appeared in the sky after this golden light had shot out. The golden light swelled with the wind. Within the short blink of an eye, however, it had swelled into a golden lightning dragon that was tens of thousands of feet in size. An enormous lightning arc flickered over his body. The rumbling sound brought about waves of thunder in the sky. Many energy bodies had a change in expression after seeing the golden lightning dragon emitting a terrifying pressure in the sky. They hurriedly pulled far back. If the lightning was to come smashing down, it was likely that many would have been blasted into dust. Roar! The lightning dragon roared in the sky. Those golden dragon eyes did not have any emotion. After all, it was currently only a type of pure energy. Xiao Yan looked at the lightning dragon raging in the sky and smiled slightly. He could clearly sense the violence and strength of the energy. If it was in the past, he might be only able to occasionally borrow its strength. However, it would have likely be extremely difficult task to refine it. However, it was fortunate that he had advanced into the D-state soul. This had allowed the 9 mysterious golden lightning, which he had originally feared, to become a lot more ordinary. The energy of the latter was increasingly powerful. This would allow Xiao Yan to quickly increase his strength. The most important thing for his current self was to possess a greater strength. I wish to say just how tyrannical you can be. The seal formed by Xiao Yan's hand changed once again. The ocean-like unfathomable spiritual strength on his brow swept out like a storm. In an instant, a huge figure that was a couple of times larger than the lightning dragon stood in the sky. The huge shadow was exactly the same as Xiao Yan. However, the rolling pressure that spread from its body was many times stronger than the pressure of the lightning dragon. Just looking at the enormous figure caused a trembling feeling to surge from deep within his soul. That feeling was as though they had met the Emperor of all souls. Only by submitting would they be able to escape from the harm of that pressure. Roar! Under that incomparably huge figure, even the golden lightning dragon, which was void of any intelligence, seemed to have felt the pressure. Its low roar was no longer as wild and violent as earlier. Even the bright lightning glow on his body had suddenly become much dimmer. The huge figure looked down at the lightning dragon from high above. Suddenly, a mountain-like large hand was extended out from the cloud layer and grabbed onto the lightning dragon. Bang, bang, bang. The scales on the golden lightning dragon stood up after they assessed the huge claw striking at them. Its large mouth was widened. Many thousand feet large golden lightning balls were shot out. Finally, they ruthlessly collided onto the giant hand, emitting a deafening rumbling sound. Golden lightning arcs flashed crazily in the sky. It appeared just like a golden lightning cloud. However, the lightning cloud directly torn apart the moment it was formed. A pair of large hands containing a terrifying pressure directly grabbed onto the lightning dragon's body. Chi-chi. The lightning dragon struggled wildly after its body was caught. Many golden lightning continued to strike onto the huge palm, emitting a series of crackling sound. However, the huge palm did not move. Humph, break it. The huge figure watched the crazily struggling lightning dragon. A sharp cry was suddenly emitted. Immediately, the strength of his palm soared. One could hear a rumbling explosion in the sky, and the golden lightning dragon was shattered by it. The lightning dragon exploded, and it immediately turned into a viscous golden liquid, which was suspended in the sky. Those golden liquid contained an incomparably mighty energy fluctuation. Who? After the appearance of the golden liquid, Little E suddenly leaped up from Xiao Yan's shoulder. His body swayed, and it turned into a 10,000 feet large fire cauldron. The cauldron was opened, and a suction force erupted from it. Immediately, the sea of golden liquid became like numerous golden river pouring down from the sky and completely fell into the fire cauldron. After the final drop of golden liquid fell into the fire cauldron, a pink flame within it immediately whistled and rose as it crazily attempted to refine it. At the same time, Xiao Yan, who was below, beckoned with his hand. Countless medicinal ingredients flew out from within his storage ring. Finally, they turned into a medicinal sea that floated in the sky. Xiao Yan did not use an ordinary method to swallow the 9 mysterious golden lightning during this refinement. This was because he understood that with his current strength, even if he was to simply directly refine it, he would at the very most only be able to reach the advanced level 6-star Doshang class. However, Xiao Yan was dissatisfied with this. Hence, he had used another method. It was to use the 9 mysterious golden lightning as the key ingredient to refine a pill. This pill was called the Lightning Calamity Pill. It could be considered a relatively mysterious medicinal pill. Its main ingredient was not something ordinary. Instead, it was the pill lightning. Refining a medicinal pill with pill lightning and adding many medicinal ingredients and monster core into the mix. The pill that was refined would definitely be extraordinary. The Lightning Calamity Pill was also divided into different grades. There were Tier 8 medicinal pills, Tier 9 treasure pills, and Tier 9 mysterious pills. The quality of the Lightning Calamity Pill that was being refined as mainly determined by the difference in the main ingredient. If one was to follow Xiao YSM and directly use the 9 mysterious golden lightning as the main ingredient, the Lightning Calamity Pill that was finally refined should be able to reach the Tier 9 mysterious pill level. Xiao Yan had only succeeded in refining the Tier 9 mysterious pill once before. He had also burned quite lucky back then. This time around, however, Xiao Yan was extremely confident. The main reason for this confidence was simply because his soul had stepped into the D state. After having reached this level, one would seldom make any mistake when refining pills. Any changes would be detected early and corrected under the observation of the D state soul. Hence, Xiao Yan was not really worried that he would destroy this only 9 mysterious golden lightning of his. His D state soul gave him sufficient confidence. The sea of medicine around the fire cauldron in the sky continued to pour into the latter. These medicinal ingredients had directly turned into the purest medicinal strength the moment they entered the fire cauldron. Finally, they merged into the golden liquid. With an increasing number of medicinal ingredients being poured into the golden liquid, the liquid had also become a little colorful. The surface of the liquid, had a continuous flashing lightning on it. At a glance, it appeared extremely mysterious. Refining a Tier 9 mysterious pill was not something that could be done immediately. However, Xiao Yan was already prepared for this. It was precisely because of this reason that he had chose the heavenly tomb as the location for the refinement. With the difference in the flow of time of this place, he should be able to successfully refine the lightning calamity pill within 1 to 2 months. Hence, lightning roar continuously resounded within the heavenly tomb during the subsequent period of time. The huge fire cauldron floated in the distant sky. Those pink flame that spread apart caused many energy bodies to sense a heartfelt horror. This scene continued for almost a month. However, only 6 days had passed on the central plains. After this refinement lasted for a month, Xiao Yan, whose eyes were tightly shut, also slowly opened them. His eyes looked at the fire cauldron in the sky and smiled. Golden light spread within the fire cauldron. The golden liquid had already withered away. However, that fist-sized bright gold-like medicinal pill originally located at the middle of the golden liquid was quietly floating in the cauldron. Many golden lightning continued to seep out from around the medicinal pill while emitting a rumbling sound. The Tier 9 mysterious pill, Lightning Calamity Pill, had been successfully refined.